Okay, so let's talk listings. I'm going to talk about my listing process. I am not perfect. Take away, hopefully you guys can take away a couple things to help your listing process. But I've had a lot of questions lately about what I do, from initial call. So that's what I'm going to talk about when you get that initial call to getting that paperwork. So this is just what I've done over time. It's what works for me. I'm a little bit more casual about my listing process and when I'm in front of people. But obviously, if I have somebody that's a little bit more formal or they want to know more about numbers, obviously you have to read your clientele and you have to go there. There's every once in a while, people want to formally sit down at a table with me. Yes, I do that, but I'll just kind of show you guys kind of what I do for my listing process. So let's talk about first on the phone. So you get that call. What are the things that you want to ask on the phone? Like, I'm not trying to talk on the phone that long. I'm trying to get in front of somebody and get on the calendar ASAP. ASAP, not too long, not next week, in the next couple days. I'm trying to get on their calendar. But there's a few key things that I want to know first. Okay. One of the first ones is if they've added any, so I'm thinking CMA. At some point I need to do a CMA, right? And price their home. So I want to know if they've added on any square footage since purchase. So I'm always asking that. Have you added on any square footage since purchase? It's usually a lower level or it's a 4-season, something like that. That's telling me I need to measure their home. That's also telling me before I do that CMA, I need a more accurate square footage before I do that. Okay. I'm also going to ask, have you done any major improvements in the last year? A lot of people will say, yeah, they give you like little things. Yeah, I like replaced a window or whatever it is. I'm looking for major improvements. Have you, replaced the roof? Have you replaced the siding? Have you, done a kitchen reno? Have you done whatever? I'm looking for major stuff that we know that would affect. So those are the things I'm just looking for real quick. Okay. Because I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking pricing. I'm going to need you to do a CMA, right? Then I'm going to find out what's your reason for selling? Where are you going? Why am I asking that? I need to know if they're a motivated seller, right? Like, I need to know who I'm working with here. Are they just like, oh, well, I just thought it would be fun to put my house on the market. And, if I get the right price, then I'll move. Are they that person? Or are they like, we're getting relocated to Texas and we need to sell our home? So there's different motivations. And I'm always looking to work with people who are motivated sellers, not people who are just kicking around trying to, like, maybe if I make enough money, I'll sell. So I do find out their reason on the phone for selling. I ask a little bit about their time frame. I'm trying to figure out that too. Okay, they're moving to Texas on this day, their family's staying here, trying to figure out a little bit about their time frame. Okay. Then I'm going to also make sure when I book that appointment that all decision makers are there. So especially if they're divorcing, right? I work with a lot of divorcees. So I make sure both people are there. If one person calls me, both people are there. Okay. Same with, if the female or the male calls me and they're married, I'm making sure both people are there. I know even if somebody tells me, oh, I'm deciding, I know that both people need to be there. So I just wait, let's make sure you are both there. Okay. Some agents drop off packets before that next appointment. Some agents do things like that. I don't do that personally. I will follow up and say, I'm super excited to meet with you on X date and X time. Usually I like to send that in an email because my email signatures has links to stuff. It says we've sold 100 million, last year, and we sell over 250 homes a year. It gives me a little bit of extra credibility that maybe I didn't say on the phone. Sometimes I don't say that stuff, but then it gives them extra links to check me out. So I will confirm. I don't drop anything off, but I think it would be a great thing for someone to do. Okay. I am then going to prep them. Hey, listen, okay, we're on the calendar for X date. I'm going to be there for about 45 to 60 minutes. Okay. I'm not going to be there. I'm telling them this because I'm not going to be there for 2 hours. It's also, I need them to know that I can need that time set aside. Okay. Because if you do not control your listing appointments, you're going to be there like forever because they're going to be like, look at my knobs that I replaced. And look at this. And, like, you can get really distracted. So you really need to control that appointment and let them know how long it's going to be. I always let my people, this is very important to me too. I don't bring CMAs to the listing appointment. Okay. All that they really care is that you're going to like, what's the price? What are you going to price my home at? We already know that. And so I am upfront because I don't talk really about that. I don't do a CMA at that listing appointment. Okay. So I'm going to make sure they know, and I'm going to say, okay, we're going to meet for 45 minutes to 60 minutes. Here's the time. Just so you know, I'm there to tell you how I market homes and how I sell homes quicker than the average agent and for more money than the average agent. And I believe it because I believe in my value proposition. Okay. So I'm going to make sure that they know I'm here to tell you about our marketing and how I'm going to work with you to sell your home. I'm not going to tell you what your price is because I haven't seen your home yet. Haven't even seen your home. So most people appreciate that. Haven't seen their kitchen, haven't seen their improvements, haven't seen what they've done. So I will make sure that we have a pricing conversation after that, but I am not there to price your home. Okay. So that is my strategy. And that's what I make sure they know, because otherwise I'm getting to that listing appointment and all that they care about is what's the price, what's the price, what's the price. So I put that underneath. Okay. One other thing, I will sometimes on the phone, I try on the phone. Otherwise you got to do it in person. You got to know their number. What's their number? Is it 600? Is it 700? I got to know the number inside their head. So I'm going to ask a question like, okay, your neighborhood, you know, what have you seen things sell for in your neighborhood? Oh, my neighbor, 725, this guy, this. Of course, they're going to give you, you know, all these, you know, whatever. Okay. A lot of times they know their neighbors, they know what's selling, right? Okay. So are you thinking, and now I'm going to try to get that price. I want them to say a price. Okay. So is that about what you're thinking for your home? Or are you thinking more or less? Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Don't say anything. You got to try to get a number. By the way, they are going to be saying to you, well, that's why I have you. Like, why are you telling me to do the number? That's what I'm hiring you for, right? Okay, which I can kind of understand. However, I know from listing homes for this long, for 7 years, we sell over 250 homes a year and all I do is listings. I know that the majority of the time, if I'm not hitting or around their number or having a conversation around that number, there is a chance they are going to go with the agent over here because that agent told them that they could sell for that price and they don't have to do anything to sell their home. And that sucks. That sucks when that happens. So I want to know that price so I can address that price. They want to go on too high, whatever that is, I will have that conversation. It's kind of a different discussion, but I absolutely want to know. The majority of the time I can get it. Every once in a while, I don't. I heard somebody recently that was like using Zillow and they'd pull up Zillow. Okay, so the Zestimate, which is like, oh, how can you even say that, right? Like no one uses that, right? But they would pull that up and they'd say, you know, no one uses this. It's not accurate, but I'm just curious. This says your home is worth $575. What do you think? And then you get a reaction. So you're getting something and you're getting an idea of price. And I think it's pretty important, okay? So setting up an appointment, we've qualified that. We said they're going to be there for 45 to 60 minutes. We're talking about my marketing plan and how I'm going to sell your home for the most amount of money and the least hassle. Not price yet. Okay. All right. So then I'm going to go online and I'm going to research their home just so I know. I'm not going to do a full CMA yet, but I'm going to get an idea. I'm going to get an idea if they told me their house is worth 600. I'm going to go look and see if they're realistic. Okay, so I will know that going into my appointment and I will tailor my listing appointment around that. At some point, I will talk price. Okay, so make sure you know going in. I work a lot in the Western burbs. I know a lot of these neighborhoods. I know what typical things are selling dollars per finished square foot. If you don't have as much experience, and there's still neighborhoods that I go into and I don't know. I got to do my research before and just know it. Okay, so make sure that you are doing that. Okay, let's talk about the actual appointment. So I come to the door with my listing packet and here I'm ready to do a listing. Okay, so here's the thing with me is I'm pretty casual about stuff and how I do things. You know, right when you walk in the door, a lot of people just want to show you their home. They want to show you their home. They want you to compliment their home. They want to know that you are going to do your best job selling all the features of their home, right? So there's different ways to do this. I've had a lot of people say, nope, you know, or I've had a lot of, when I've been on trainings before, which I don't do, but I've had a lot of trainings and they're like, hey, Okay, let's just sit down at the table. I'm going to take a quick run through your home, just like a buyer would, and they take like a couple minutes on their own, because we know, truly, as a listing agent, like you've seen, like there's things that you're going to want to know more in detail when they go on the market, but we know pretty much we just need a couple minutes to run through. But I have learned I don't do that approach, just because I feel like I build rapport with people. I get to know them better on it. And I do let them talk. So a lot of times when I go to the door, I let people say if they want to sit down first and talk about a listing strategy, or they want to give me a tour of their home. A lot of times we're going and we're getting a tour of their home. Okay. So I'm at the front door. We're starting to talk. We walk in the home and we're starting to talk about, oh, okay, here's this. And we're just kind of walking through. When I'm doing that, this listing presentation that I have with all the info, I'm strategically going through a lot of this on the way. So by the time I even sit down, if I do later, and I do make sure I give this information and I talk through the stuff I didn't talk about through the home, but I'm talking about a lot of that on the way. Okay. So let's say we're going in their kitchen. So here we're in their kitchen and they're showing me the kitchen and I'm like, okay, yes, they've done this remodel or whatever. I'm also taking notes in my head of things maybe that they need to do. So they might say, oh, should I leave this here? Should I take this out? What do you think as you're going through? And I'll be like, oh, well, I gift all my clients 2 hours with my stager. So don't worry, we have you covered. We're not going to do that now. I probably, I recommend pulling up all rugs because I'm selling your flooring. So usually the only rug that we leave is like front door, but my stager will go through that with you. I believe in staging so much that I actually gift you 2 hours with my stager. She's awesome. So don't worry. So basically, I'm already going through and I'm starting to talk about my listing presentation and what people get and how I'm different when I'm going through their home. Okay. Then we're going to go in the living room and I'm going to be like, and then we're going to notice, and I'm going to be like, oh, and I'll be like, oh, you have such good lighting, floor to ceiling windows. That is so amazing. Okay. And then they're talking about other things too, right? During that, I'm going to be like, okay, this is so amazing because this is going to photograph so good. I have the best photography. We actually include aerials too, with all of our photos. But what's really important here is like the outside of your home. It's so pretty and you have all these trees and all this privacy. So like our stager does like fusion photography. I don't even know how he does it, but he takes 5 images, blends them together. So I make sure I'm seeing the details outside. That's important to me. My background actually is professional photography, but I can't photograph homes. I used to photograph people, but I know photos matter so much. If they are not awesome online, you're not getting a showing. So I make sure. So anyways, I'll just kind of add that in there as I'm doing my listing appointment, add that in there. So now I talked about photos, how important it is, and how my photography is rock star. Okay. So I'm just kind of going through casually this, and I'm also talking, this is important for me with this staging. Okay. I'm taking notes in my head and a lot of times on my phone of things that I want my stager to talk about. It's really important to me that I've learned this, and some of you guys are your own stagers and you're telling your clients what to do. And you can go ahead and continue to do that. However, I've realized that I've ticked people off along the way and I'm like, oh, you got to paint that red. You got to paint that green. They're like, oh, it's my favorite green. What if somebody likes this green? Well, maybe we just leave it. And then we give them a credit for paint. And I know credits for paint, don't worry. Like I need a neutral. That's what is selling right now, right? So I allow those conversations for my stager. My stager is amazing. And I say to my clients, because a lot of times my clients will come back and they'll be like, Deb said I had to paint. Deb said do that. So now Deb's the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy. I'm the marketer. I'm the salesperson. I'm going to sell this home. I do not want to be the bad guy. So I make her be the bad guy. And my point is going through the home, I will take notes and I will tell Deb on what I want her to focus on. Okay. You're going to be able to tell with your clients if they're going to get super overwhelmed with painting. Our goal with staging is to level up 1 or 2 notches. Okay. Some people do more, some people do less, but we're trying to level up. Okay. And give clients, what they should do to do that. Sometimes people want to do things that they want to like, whatever it is, they want to do something that's like, no, don't focus on that. We're really looking at aesthetic. Okay. So some people really need hand holding and help then. My point is when I'm going through these homes, I am making notes for Deb. So after my appointment, I'm like, hey, and I'll voice text my stager a lot and I'll say, okay, these are the things I want you to focus on. Paint, deep cleaning, window cleaning, decluttering. They need a few things from Home Goods. But here's the thing, Deb, I'll say they're divorcing. They are stressed. Do not tell them to fully stage their home. Do not tell them to paint the kids' bedrooms. Please only focus on the main area. I cannot overwhelm these guys. Okay. So it's been very important to me to communicate that with my stager. So then she goes in and does it later. Okay. Because there are times where you can overwhelm people, and guess what? Now they don't go with you. They're like, oh, well, so-and-so told me I could price higher and I don't have to do anything. And then they go with that person. And that is not a favor to them. That is not a favor to them. I know that if people do things, they'll sell for more money. So you just really have to teeter-totter on how that delivery is. Okay. Okay. As I'm going through also, I'm asking about finished square footage and if they've added any, okay? That will tell me if they've added on any finished square footage, I need to schedule somebody for measuring, okay? A lot of times when I'm going through and if they're agreeing with me on stuff, most of the time I'm texting my stager and I'm saying, hey, Deb, when is your next availability? And right there, I'll be like, okay, guys, actually, she got back to me. Would tomorrow work at 3 or do you want to do it the next day? And we get on and I get on their calendar ASAP. Now, this depends on their time frame, but a lot of people that I meet with, their time frame is we want to get this on right now. Especially right now, it's going to be Christmas. It's the end of the year. Like almost always, I'm trying to get them on quick. So I'm facilitating emails already. I'm assuming that I'm going to work with people unless I'm getting any, weird signals or they want to price really too high or it's somebody that I don't want to work with. I'm pretty much assuming that we're moving forward and I'm starting to schedule stuff. Stager, measuring person, photographer, usually I leave until after because I have to make sure that staging is all done, right? Okay, so that's me going through their home. So I'm typically pretty casual. We're going through their home. And a lot of this I'm already saying. But for what I haven't, I make sure then a lot of times I'll keep it casual. Like all of a sudden, if we're sitting here, can you guys see? And we're sitting and we're just talking at a table. A lot of times I will just be like, okay, well, let's talk about some of these things that we haven't talked about yet. Okay. So sometimes people want to be formal and sit at a table. Here's Allie. I'm like, yeah. And every once in a while we're sitting formally at a table and that's fine too. That can work. A lot of times that's so formal. Like I just don't love it as much, but if somebody wants to do that, great. A lot of times it's me just being casual. Okay. So make sure this isn't a training where I'm going through my listing presentation, but make sure you have one that rocks and make sure you know your value proposition. And if you don't have a value proposition yet that you believe in, get one. Own it, know it, figure out what it is. Are your photos better? Is your behind the system better? Is your marketing better? Is your advertising better? Is your team better? What's better? Make sure, because right now in this market, you need to stand out. You need a value proposition that sets yourself above and beyond because it's a harder market right now. And you need to believe it and you know it. I know when I go to a listing appointment, I know it because I do it. I sell homes quicker and for more money almost every single time. I believe it. And that's what we do. And I do it over and over. And I have a formula that I repeat over and over. It's for a $150,000 condo or it's $1 million home, $1 million stuff. Yes, it has different brochures. Yes, it has some different advertising on it. Yes, it has a different ad spend, but pretty much I'm doing the same thing over and over. So in my listing packet, if you guys don't have something, make sure you just get something created. I'm a big one sheets person. So I'm a big, like each one of these needs to be something that I've already covered. Okay. Or I'm leaving. So I'll go through things, this is our team. We sold 100 million last year. We do about, 250 homes plus a year. Basically, I know what I'm talking about, right? So you're just going through here. Here's my marketing plan. So you're going through this. Here's photography. Yes, I'm in Wayzata Schools right now at this listing appointment. So I'm going to show you that I advertise there. Here's all my reviews. Okay. So I'm going to leave that stuff. Okay. So if there's anything on that, the biggest thing on that for me is that marketing plan. And if I didn't get to any of that, okay, because there's things that I didn't get to. I didn't get to that my signs outside are luxury signs. They stand out more and they're lit at night. Okay. Because I say, everything I do is thoughtful. Everything I do is a notch up and more thoughtful. Even my signs are lit at night. Okay. So that's part of my value proposition. Then on the other side, I am going to pull properties that are in the area and in the price point. So I'm going to show them which. Okay, this one sold in 10 days. This one was on the market for a little bit longer, whatever it was. I'm going to give stories about all these homes and I'm going to pull them, and they are going to know by that end that, yep, I sold a lot of homes in your area. I sold this one in X. Oh yeah, look at the staging on this one. This one we did full staging. You don't need to do full staging, but Deb will give you some tips. Maybe, you know, you go to Home Goods, grab a few things. A lot of our clients just do like white puffy towels and an infrared doormat. You know, so then I'm talking about things. Okay. So that's the listing presentation. I will make sure that if I didn't discuss some of that already, that those are because I have ADHD. I'm like, oh, kind of over the place. So that reels me in. And I know that if it's in there and I didn't cover it, that's my cue to cover it. So I love one sheets. So make sure you have them. Okay. Okay. So you're sitting at the table. You're also going to be talking about timeline. You're going to nail down that timeline. What's that timeline like? If they are ready to go, if they are ready to go on, then you need to get a calendar out. Okay. I'm going to look at a calendar right now. Okay. So we're going to have Deb meet with you tomorrow. That's Wednesday. Okay. And then, you know, you got to judge it. You're like, oh my gosh, like how long is this going to take? Is this, and sometimes you don't know, right? So, you know, is this going to take them a couple days, or do they need weeks, or do they need months? What is it? But a lot of mine are taking a couple days and they're going on, right? So let's just say, okay, so we're going to meet Wednesday. We're going to get you on the market then not next Friday, but the Friday after, let's say. So I give them a couple. Okay. Does that feel comfortable? Okay. That feels comfortable. Okay, cool. So that's the 11th. If we go on the 11th, we schedule photos the Monday prior to that Friday, because I got a lot to do, right? We got to do brochures. We got to do social media pieces. I want to promote you as coming soon and give you all that buzz. That's part of my presentation, coming soon exposure. Okay. So then you just need to back that up and make sure they're comfortable, because then they're like, oh my gosh, already Monday, the 7th is photos. Yeah. Does that feel too, can you do that? Or do you want to push it out another week? So you're establishing this timeline. Okay. So you have stager on the calendar. We have measurements. If you need them, get those scheduled on the calendar. Okay. And then also then is that photo appointment is next. So I will schedule that after usually. And then we send out an email confirming that. Okay. Okay. So we talked about the listing packet, paperwork. Let's talk about paperwork. This is up to you guys. Do you have somebody, you sit down at a table and have them sign listing paperwork right there? Do you have them sign on the dotted line? And that's up to you. You guys have to decide that. There's business partners that I am in business with who do that. I do not do that. I partner with people and I believe they're signing, and I'm not doing it right there. I do everything electronically. I have them sign agency at least 24 hours in advance, and then I send them listing paperwork. Okay. We still have to nail down that price too. And in this conversation here, when I've been at the house, we haven't nailed down price yet because I've been there to talk about my marketing plan. Okay. So that listing paperwork, I will prep them though. Okay. Did you hear my voice? I just went through puberty real quick. I will prep them. However, I've also made sure in here, I've talked about commission. Okay. So make sure you're having that commission conversation before you're walking away. They can ask you, or you can bring it up because they're wondering. I'm 6% commission. It's the average commission. Some people are actually more. There's 7%. And here's the deal. I do a heck of a lot more. All that stuff I mentioned, I do a heck of a lot more for the same commission that a lot of people are charging. So it's 6% commission. Actually, the other side makes 2.7%. So it's about half and half. And then it's a $499 broker admin fee. I make sure I have that conversation. So when they get the listing paperwork, they're ready to go. Okay. So I will say, hey, listen, Chris is my transaction coordinator. She's going to send out an agency form. That is not a contract. It's just required by the state of Minnesota. I just need you to sign that. It's just kind of a thing that everyone has to do. And you can explain it if you need to. So you have that. And then next you're ready for paperwork. Okay. And I don't do it here. I do it later. Okay. And obviously you have to have a price by then. Okay. Then I will say, okay, I've had this conversation and I make sure that I'm getting a price. Okay, they want to price their home at 600. Okay, I know that. Okay, so then I'll walk away. Okay, so here's the deal. We're just going to wrap up then. I have staging appointment set. The measuring appointment is set. I'm going to schedule a photographer for that Monday, and then I'll send you an email and confirm that. Also, now I'm going to go away, and now my job is to do a CMA for you. So that's a competitive market analysis, and I'm going to compare properties. Okay. I'm going to compare active, pending, and sold properties. And I'm going to try to look at the last 30 days. I'm trying to look at the market right now, and I'm going to explain that process of pricing. Now, I know you want to be at $600,000, so I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to aim to prove that. I want to make you the most amount of money, but I also know making you the most amount of money isn't, we have to have a formula, because everyone sees these numbers. Appraisers see these numbers, buyers are not stupid. All this information is out there. So if I know that somebody said they want to price at 600, a lot of times this is what I'm getting. Oh, my neighbor sold at 600. So that's why I'm pricing my home. And I'll be like, oh, okay, well, just real quick, because I did my research before, even though I don't have a CMA, your neighbor had 3,800 square feet. You have 3,200. People sometimes don't realize that. They're like, that home sold for that, so my home's going to be better. It's going to sell for more, or at least that. It's like, actually, you have 700 square feet less. So you have one less bedroom and you have a little bit of extra square footage. So we need to make sure that that adjustment is in pricing. Okay. And you need to be talking to people, obviously, about pricing. That's a whole different conversation and training. Okay. But I'm letting them know when I leave, I'm going to come back. I'm going to have a CMA to you within 24 hours, within 48 hours, whatever that time frame is. I am going to send that to you via email. There's going to be links on there so you can look at the properties exactly. It's going to look at dollars per finished square footage of like property, hopefully in the last 30 to 60 days. Okay. So that's what I'm telling people. And then we're having a conversation after. So once you get that, we're going to have a phone conversation. We're going to talk about that pricing and where you want to be at. Okay. We talked about prepping the stager. Super important that I prepare my stager and let her know what I want her to go over, so she does not overwhelm my clients and she focuses on things that I want her to focus on. I can do that staging appointment. I pretty much know everything that needs to be done, but it's important for me to send someone else out and be the bad guy and keep this appointment so you actually get the listing. So you're moving forward. Okay. Believing in your value proposition. It couldn't be more important right now. I know I already talked about that. And know your system. Make sure you have a system. We have a system. I've been doing this for 7 years. We know the system and how it works. Make sure you're setting it up and you know that. Okay. So, I meet with somebody, I do the CMA, they're sent out an agency form, right? Then I talk to them about pricing, listing paperwork is next. Like, what is that system? I have a transaction coordinator. She has been amazing. We have emails, templates that are sent out at every point in the transaction. Here's your photo schedule. Your photos are scheduled at 10 a.m. on whatever. Here's are the things. Make sure it's not on garbage day. Make sure there's no garbages out. Make sure your lights are on both inside and out, whatever that is. All those things that you are saying over and over again, put them in a template. And whether you're sending them out or your TC is sending that out, make sure you are articulating those messages. At every point, we have a different message. And many times, many times, it's the same message. Every once in a while, we're tweaking it, but many times it's the same message. Okay. After the appointment, then I will absolutely send a thank you and text them, text or email and thank them and let them know I will be back to you in 24 hours with a CMA. Then we will follow up with a phone call. Super excited to be working with you. I love marketing homes. So whatever your message is, okay. Then I'm setting up those appointments that we already talked about, and I'm getting the ball rolling. It's rolling. I'm rolling that ball even before I have listing paperwork. Okay. And for some reason, if all of a sudden I hear like, they're like, oh, if they have some sort of objection or they're still meeting with realtors, I am saying, oh, okay, no worries. Feel free to ask me any questions, because I believe I'd be a really great fit to work with you. But we're just going to push Deb then further. We'll just push Deb until Thursday. Does that sound okay? Do you think you'll have a decision by then or whatever? Try not to pressure people, guys. But I also don't start spending money. Usually I don't start spending money until I know they're working with me. And sometimes that's just a verbal. And every once in a while, as it shot me in the foot, I suppose, but not a lot. I send my stager. Okay. If I lose $225, I lose $225. I move forward with things in the majority of the time, knock on wood, it works out and it's all awesome. Okay. So that's that. So that is talking about, again, I'm not perfect in how I do things. I definitely keep it a little bit more casual. I like to get to know my people. I want them to know how I am to partner. I want them to know my process. I want them to know I am there to market and sell their home. And once I do market and sell their home, then Chris will be working with them. I want them to know the whole, that's my TC. I want them to know the whole process and feel comfortable with it. So there you go. Thank you for being on here. If there's, let's do a quick Q&A if anyone has one. I'm going to log off real quick. Thanks for being on here.